Sometimes I forget that this isn't as easy to even comprehend. You see, it's been about 5 years now, and I kind of live in a bubble where I talk to people and I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal. Just sell everything you own, pack up everything, leave everybody you know, and start a giant brand new life in an entirely different country, potentially 30 hours flight away. And I forget how crazy that sounds, but it's true. It's true. It took a lot of guts, of sheer will, risk, everything just to do that kind of thing. Now, of course, I'm not regretting anything. Look at this. This is what I wake up to every day. It's absolutely crazy. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, there was a lot of uncertainty. And it took a lot to get myself to this point. Even not this point, just even to the point of just pushing myself to leave. And I know a lot of you are in that same boat. There's a lot of people who are watching these type of videos, or mine and others, and thinking the same thing, wow, so cool, but I could never do that. Or can I do that? It seems like a lot. It seems a little crazy, and I get it. You see, I've through many careers in my life, including all my own businesses and stuff like that, but a lot of it, I was like a corporate person, right? This is literally a clip of me in a factory that I work for the company, and I was corporate management, but sales, that type of thing. And so, yeah, this was my life. It was safe. It was secure. I, got a regular paycheck, and I went home and had my friends, and I had my life. It was safe. It was secure. It was everything I always knew. And there's lots of times in my life, of course, this didn't seem real, especially not here in the Philippines. I did take a lot of vacations in Mexico, Costa Rica, stuff like that. And I had the advantage of my own parents moving to Costa Rica and living there for 10 years, that I could go and see their life. But Costa Rica was only a 3-hour flight. That's a big difference from potentially 30, depending on what destination out here and where you're coming from. So yeah, I get it. And so today, I'm gonna try to walk you through everything I went through. And also, I have the ability to share a lot of other people's stories that have shared with me, that I can give a little bit more context than just one man's story. I have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people's stories in my head that I can see where there's patterns of the same thing. So I absolutely love the beach life. The fact that, this is high tide, but the fact that we have this beautiful beach here is absolutely glorious to me. It is exactly the life that I always wanted, and I'm so happy to have it. But for some people, that's not their dream life. Their dream life might be having all the conveniences of the world, and they just want a lower cost of living, still having some traditional values. Maybe they're looking for a wife with traditional values, that kind of thing, and that might bring them to the Philippines. And so a place like BGC, Eastwood, Makati, all these big modern areas that are available here in the Philippines at a lower cost with, obviously the Filipino culture ingrained into it, is something that they dream of, right? They want to be able to get all the conveniences of the world at their fingertips. And the truth of the matter is, when you come to beaches like this and want to live on the beach, you're going to have to give up some of that. Maybe a lot, maybe a little. I chose in a place where there's very little I have to give up, because I still have the shopping malls, I have the airport and everything else, but there are certain things you still can't get here. And so that's an important thing when you're coming to the Philippines, is trying to figure out what's your best fit. And the biggest problem people make is they make the decision too soon. A lot of people will book something even ahead of time, maybe get me to go look at it for them or whatever. and they jump all in. And I highly suggest, this is my best advice I can give anyone, is to try an area out for a little while. Boracay was beautiful, but when I went there, I lived there for 8 months, you know, the tourist part of it, it loses its feeling after a while. After several months of it, you kind of miss like the daily life stuff and the conveniences of daily life that you really kind of need for long term. And so it's really difficult. Only a certain amount of people can handle that be on vacation forever life. And so yeah, try not to jump it. Try to give yourself enough time, even if you find a great place. So you say you love here in Rojas City. Great, wonderful. Well, find a place and try it out for a few months. I would highly suggest, 3 to 6 months, something like that. And be sure, like, this is the place. After that period of time, you still want to be here? Great. Then make the more permanent type of decisions and go from there. But try not to jump into it too much. I often tell people, start in the cities you land in, check it all out, see how life is there, and then go to the more provincial areas and then figure out what's the best fit for you. And, try to find a good place. This is little Laura, by the way. You're going to say hi, Laura. There you go. And, if you don't know my channel and you're new to the channel, well, this is in addition to my wonderful family here. Right, baby? Yeah. Yes. And, life has been very good for me. But, I had to go through a lot of this roller coaster of life in order to get to the stage I'm at now. And it doesn't come easy, and hopefully, some of the advice that I can pass on from my roller coaster life will save people a lot of the downs of the roller coaster life. But don't rush into things is my main point, and I think you'll appreciate that advice in the end.
There is no Uber in the Philippines, so you gotta use apps like Grab. Grab is like Uber, almost identical to Uber. But that's the one you're going to want to download and be ready to use when you land at an airport. Taxis, if you're going into Manila, for example, they're not famous for following the rules. They don't almost never use the meter. They just invent prices, and you got to get you're really used to being price gouged on those kind of things. So you got to be very careful on that. Try not to use them. If you go to a place like Iloilo, they actually enforce it pretty strictly there that they must use a meter, and it's actually cheaper than Grab. But in Manila, and I think Cebu, yes, all my examples that I had there, they didn't use the meter as well. So you got to be very careful on those things. If you are looking to order food, there are different options. They have Food Panda as well, which here in Rojas City, there's only Food Panda. There is no Grab food. There are Grab cars, but no Grab food. Also tricycles. You're going to get used to probably having to use them in a lot of places, especially if you leave the big cities. And the tricycles are not all made the same. Some cities, they're very small and low to the ground, and other places like Dumaguete, they're like big, huge carriages that are very comfortable and cushiony, and they're really great to ride it. You're going to get all kinds. Typical on trikes these days, at least at the time of this recording, anywhere from 25 to 50 pesos, maybe even 100 pesos for a tricycle. Very economical, obviously. We're talking less than $1, but you get what you pay for sure. Okay, so I don't have some experience when it comes to eSIMs, and an eSIM is a card that you can get ahead of time when you're coming to the Philippines for the very first time, because you're going to need it, because you won't be able to get a Grab until you have a SIM card. You can't even connect to the Wi-Fi at the airport unless you have a phone number, a Philippines phone number. So it seems counterintuitive, but it is true. And also, you're going to need your Arrive app, which I don't remember the name of it. I'll put it down right there just so you know the name of it, that you have to do ahead of time. So having access immediately to a cell phone is pretty important in this country, because otherwise, if you don't do an eSIM, you're going to have to go through all of customs and get all this done, get your bags, and then finally be able to buy a SIM card, and the price will be 2 to 4 times what it's going to cost you once you leave the whole airport area. So to save some money and actually be a lot more convenient, you can go to like an eSIM. I don't have any experience yet, but Walter here, a fellow American for many of you, he has got some experience, and he's been to the Philippines several times. 3 times? Yeah, 3 times now. And so he's going to tell us a little bit about it so that you guys can better understand it.
So Michael's correct. You literally, if you land and you don't have data access, you're stuck with e-travel, with getting Grab, getting anything that lets you move past the airport. So first thing you need to do is make sure that your phone can support an eSIM, which is basically an electronic SIM. All phones have the ability to have at least one SIM. Some have dual SIM that you actually put a physical nano or micro SIM in it, and that's all great. If you have that, you're going to have to wait and pay the price at the airport. The problem at the airport is ultimately you're getting a package, but you don't know if that's the real price for Globe or Smart. You're just paying someone 15, 1,600 pesos, and you might be getting literally 2 gig of data for 25 pesos, and then it's gone, and you're no longer around that individual. So if you plan ahead, you can get an eSIM from Globe and from Smart in your home country, utilizing their app. At the very bottom, there's a thing for click this visitor SIM package. Globe, it's 1,750 pesos. Smart is 99 pesos, and you literally get just an eSIM, which is pretty useless until you put some load and actually add a data plan. But if you are just interested in getting data and you don't need a phone number, many companies, Saley is one, there are several others that will sell you a data-only eSIM. You can buy that eSIM from them, download it instantly, and then literally when you land in the country, and with Saley, when I landed, it was a data SIM from Globe. Even though I couldn't get the Globe network SIM to work, I was able to get a data SIM from Saley so that I had data in the airport to be able to process the e-travel, to be able to get Grab, to be able to do what I needed to do, especially since I was landing in Manila and then getting on another plane and flying to Rojas. So if you don't do these things ahead of time, you're going to get stuck. Now again, as with any foreign traveler, money will get you out of any situation here, but in the end, more of that money staying in your pocket is the goal, right?
Yeah. And I have heard that T-Mobile does offer plans that will work worldwide, and you can use here. You're going to pay a premium for that, but it does work here in the Philippines. There are plenty of expats that have been living here, and I've seen it in the expat groups where they said they've been here 8 years, 6 years, 5 years, that kind of thing. And as long as they don't tell them that they're now living permanently in the Philippines, then they don't care. As long as you keep paying your bill, it will just keep working, and you can still use it here in the Philippines. So there is that option if you are an American. I know as a Canadian, there was nothing like that. If I was here, it would go to roaming, and it would be an absolute fortune to use it here in this country. So we don't have as many options in Canada, and that's the same when it comes to banking. So as a Canadian, there's not much we can do. We have very few banks, as you know, if you are a Canadian. They rape us on everything. Our service charges, our ATM fees, and well, when you come to the Philippines, every single time you use your card in an ATM, it's 250 pesos for an international card. Well, Canada doesn't have any options where they refund the ATM fees back to you at the end of the month. They do, however, in the United States. So before I go on to asking Walter here what he thinks we should use for in the United States when it comes to ATMs, but you should know that here in the Philippines, there are some banks that are 10,000 pesos maximum per withdrawal. So you have to put your card in every single time, take out only 10,000 pesos, which isn't a very large amount of money, especially when they want 250 pesos each time here, never mind what your bank's going to charge to use the bank machine. So there are other ones. They're generally the red ones. So the ones like China Bank, BPI, which are red colored, are 20,000 pesos per withdrawal transaction. Now that's still not very much, and many people are probably used to $1,000 or something like that. You're not going to find that here with a foreign card. So it's probably for the best. You don't want anybody to find your card and somehow be able to take money out. But it can be a real expensive pain in the butt. As a Canadian, for me, that was like $6 every single time, just the fees here in this country, never mind the fees I was paying to my own bank for the ATM fees. So we're a little bit in a bad situation, which there are apps that can help you get around a little bit of it, but you're still gonna pay the app a fee, like Western Union stuff. So you got Wise and Remitly, these kind of things that people use. Generally, you just want to get past your 3 months so you can open a bank account, because then after that, you can just use SWIFT, which is just an international banking transfer, for only $1.99, and you can just transfer any amount you want from your home bank to your other bank. But for Americans, you guys have more options, which is awesome and amazing for you guys, and that is...
So as Michael pointed out, you do have options, and one of the reasons why I went and found those options is because of Michael's video about a year and a half ago, where he talked about this exorbitant expense of having to get 10,000 pesos and losing 250 every time. So the two banks that I'm familiar with, and again, do your own research. I'm just a user.
Yeah. Suggestions.
But I'm with Schwab. So with Schwab, you get no foreign transaction fees on their end, and they refund you at the end of the month all foreign ATM charges. So it doesn't matter if the ATM charges you 500 pesos or 250 pesos. At the end of the month, if that's 6,000 pesos, they're going to refund that back into your account, which is blissful. It's nice. From my understanding, Fidelity also has a similar type of card that's attached to, again, the Schwab is attached to an investor checking. It's a special kind of magic that they have. Fidelity, same kind of thing. USAA apparently also has that option. I'm not as familiar with that. Your mileage may vary. The key is to make sure that when you utilize an ATM, especially as an American, you want to do without conversion. Because if you do with conversion, you're allowing them to do the exchange rate. And I assure you the rate is not favorable to you. So you want your bank to do the exchange rate. And that's a new gotcha in the ATMs. They want to try to get you to, and they make it look like doing the conversion is the right thing. It is not. It's just like when you pay for stuff with your credit card or your debit card, you get asked dollars or pesos. You always say pesos. Never let the machine do the translation or the exchange rate translation for you. Yep. It'll get you in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you also have other options when you're here. There are places that use credit card. Okay, we now at the Beaver offer credit cards. So you can bring your American Express and it will work here. But to believe that you could do a lot of things here in the Philippines on credit cards would be a bad belief, because the vast majority of places, and I mean a vast majority of places, are going to be cash-based. And you'll hear the word GCash if it's online, if it's up working at that moment, that kind of thing. There will be like GCash and PayMaya is another one. There's these little apps out here that do work sometimes, not all the time. We've had a lot of problems here accepting it, but you'll notice that now these QR codes everywhere. You can use your bank account if you're a Filipino bank account. You can use PayMaya. You can use GCash. You can do, when you scan it, it'll like ask you what one of these options do you want to pay with, and you can pay that way. So that is the way the future for Philippines is, this whole QR code sort of payment system. I guess much like China with WeChat and all that stuff, right? So the Asian way is to go to this QR code and use your phone for everything. But it's not quite everywhere. And you're going to find that the best deals, the best things, like if you want something that, you know, seems very traditional in ways, like, you know, great food or something like that, often those places aren't going to take anything but cash anyway. And ATMs often don't always have money, especially if you're in the provinces and stuff like that. So this other option of paying with this QR code is a preferred way nowadays, honestly. And you found a way to do that without having, because you can't get a GCash account confirmed unless you're a resident and have all these things. I don't have a GCash for that reason. I kept failing on the resident side of it. And so even though I have a Philippines driver's license, ACR card, all that, I can't even do it. But you have a way that you found out about, and it's worked out. You weren't sure it was going to work, but it actually worked.
Indeed. So, scouring the YouTube as we all do before we travel to the Philippines, I came across a company called Moreta, and basically Moreta, and it's Moreta Pay. And it is basically GCash, but not GCash app. So it allows you, and it's right now only available in the Philippines, but it is targeted to expand throughout the whole Southeast Asia. So Thailand and other countries are on the map to be done. But Philippines, so far, has been working for me, with one exception. Person-to-person transfer did not work today. But you basically scan the code just like you would scan with GCash or PayMaya, and then you put in the amount. If it's a code, if you scan the code on the transaction machine, it already has the amount. You slide right to pay, boom, the register goes, and you're gone. The magic with Moreta Pay is you ultimately link that to your bank account, and so you literally do an ACH transfer at no cost to you into the Moreta, then you use it, and every time you use it, you get 1% back into your pocket. Right now, I can't figure out why that's not illegal, but it isn't.
Nice deal. So yeah, you're just moving, say, $50 from your American bank account to Moreta, and then you can spend it,
In pesos.
and then they give you 1% back. Now, obviously, as a person who's a retailer here type thing, I know that we pay a fee, right? And that's how they can afford to do that. But also, I think it's much like the gift card thing, because you put $50 into the gift card and you use 45 of it, then you lose the gift card, or you just stop using it, that kind of thing. And so, and then also same way with banks, right? Where they take a certain amount of money in, then there's a certain amount that doesn't get spent, it just kind of sits in savings and all that kind of thing, and then they can use that to make investments and, you know, using different ratios and stuff like that.
And you are correct. I was worried about that because GCash has that infamous. If you lose your number and you have $100 in GCash, it's gone.
Right.
But with Merida Pay, you actually, there's an app entry that allows you to transfer the money back out of Merida back to your bank.
Oh, good.
So they've actually buttoned up that hole on the other side.
Yeah.
Again, this company is based out of San Francisco, so ultimately it's
an American
very, very brand new, but so far it's been working.
Okay, good. So there is others, like I said, Wise and Remitly are similar type things where you can bring money into the country, so you can transfer it. You link your bank account to them, and then from there you can send yourself, say, 20,000 pesos, and then you go to any of the numerous amount of places here that accept Western Union. You'll see them everywhere in this country. It's a very common thing, and then you pick up your money. But in that case, you're paying like a fee, obviously, to do that. So your ultimate goal should be to open a Philippines bank account when you can legally do that, which you need an ACR card to do. So it takes you about 3 to 4 months, depending on when it arrives at the customs, the immigration office that you applied it for. When you pick it up, now you have it. Now you go and you open up a bank account, and then you can just do quick transfers back and forth. I say quick; it takes 3 days. Swift, but it's $1.99. It's one of the lowest fees possible that you could get for larger amounts, right? So I know Wise and all those, it might work out to $8 to $12 to $15 or something like that. But you could send over yourself a few $1,000s. Great. It doesn't sound like a lot, but at $1.99, if you have 3 days wait, sometimes 1 day, to be honest, it's not always 3 days, it's obviously still going to be cheaper.
Well, on that note, Michael, that wire transfer is the way to go. A lot of folks, one of the other videos that I was seeing, or a trend of videos before I came over, was U.S. bank accounts are being closed, people can't access their money and so forth. So what I've learned is that due to the Patriot Act, if you say the words, I am no longer living in the United States, even in casual conversation with someone that's supporting you in your call to get service, they have no leeway at all. They must close your account. So you're always just traveling.
Yeah. Just on vacation.
You're on vacation, because if not, you will get your U.S. bank account closed due to the Patriot Act. They cannot legally keep it open if you say you don't live in the United States.
Yeah. And before you leave your country, like if you're going to leave for good, it's very important to go and you talk to your bank manager, and also have many different banks. So, because even if you want, for example, you have the Schwab and it's got the, no transaction fees, that's great. Have a credit union, or have a couple other ones where you can actually call the branch manager, talk to them, that kind of thing, and then just transfer money over as you need. If for any reason your card gets compromised and they have to send a new one or whatever, and it's going to be a delay, you might need access to funds. It's good to have other options where you have money in there, or be able to transfer money to other bank accounts so that you can get money in there and still get money. Don't leave yourself with just one option. As a Canadian, we had a big problem when we first came, because I had TD, I had a credit union, and I had Scotiabank. Well, Scotiabank, it turns out, is the only one with the OTP is tied to the device instead of a phone number. And so the device that has the app on it, the OTP will come up for me to confirm every transaction or anything that they want. Like if I want to log in online or something, that device is tied to it. Where my TD Bank, nope, must be a Canadian or American phone number only, and I got locked out of that.
Yes.
And so I had to transfer, go online, get them to allow me to go online first, and then move my money to the Scotiabank. So the TD Bank one did not work out. So make sure your bank doesn't need an American phone number before you go getting rid of your American phone number and dealing with all of this. There are other options like Magic Jack and these different companies that offer like a phone number to the United States. where you can get it with it's like a virtual thing where it works in an app on your phone. There are other options that you can do that kind of thing, but it's probably going to be a lot easier if you just didn't need to have a phone number as an OTP. So mine with Scotiabank is tied to the device, plus it even gives me the option to use my email if I want. So I can do that in 2 different ways and save myself a lot of heartache. Thanks, Walter. He helped me out here. Also, there is this app called Tello, and they offer free voice and text over Wi-Fi, which is great. So you can get text, and you can get a US number. They have really low rates for the Philippines, like 1 cent per SMS and 1 cent per megabyte. So if you do need any data or anything like that, or just OTP text, well, if you get 4 of them in a month, it would be 4 cents, plus the small plan that you can pick the smallest plan. So TELLO is one that is being used these days because apparently a lot of the banks are onto the whole Magic Jacks and stuff like that. When it comes to OTPs, they're not allowing it, but this Tello app apparently is working. Thanks from Dan from Vagabond, who made a video about it. So there you go. There's another option that you can have. Another thing is money. People ask me all the time, how much money should I bring when I come to the Philippines? Well, like in the United States, the maximum you're allowed to bring in is 10,000 US dollars. Now, people will make the mistake and think that means if a equivalent, $10,000 equivalent. No, it does not. It's actually 50,000 pesos, which is not very much when you're moving your whole life to come to another country. So it's not, so many euros, so many Canadian dollars, that kind of thing. No, it's 10,000 US dollars. Otherwise, it's 50,000 pesos or equivalent, anything other than the United States. So it's much, much lower if you're talking any other currency. So be very careful when you come in. Now, you don't really need it though so much because you can get cash all over the country. But I did mention earlier, the first 3 months you're stuck dealing with ATMs, and if you don't have one of those bank accounts we were talking about, you will be paying ATM fees. So you want to bring as close as you can to the 10,000 US dollars, in my opinion, and then obviously keep it very, very safe and spread it out, and therefore you can maybe make it all the way to your 3 months, get your ACR card, and then open up a bank account. From there, well, now you can just transfer from your home bank account to the Philippines bank account. Anytime you need money, it won't be that difficult at all. Makes your life a lot easier. The next thing that people always ask me is, what should I bring with me when I come? And I used to tell them, bring, well, essentially nothing. That you can buy almost everything here, except for maybe really high-end electronics. The cutting edge kind of stuff may not be here yet. And that kind of has all been changed a bit. So I'm going to give you some advice here, but if you're American, things are about to change because the two governments just negotiated, well, things can be imported from America duty-free now. So I don't know if that's going to affect cars and everything else because the duties are extremely high, not even worth it to bring your own car here. And does that go to zero now? I don't know. I'm not sure because it was only, 2 days ago that the two governments said that they have now agreed on this. So this may change, but the things that you do want to bring here, maybe some high-end tools, or like our friend at Texas Filipino, he uses like these very, very good fasteners that are the best stainless steel, never rust sort of thing that he just couldn't find here. And so he sent them to himself from Texas here to the Philippines. Now, if you ship it, it's going to be very expensive, like sending it by a courier, right? Because there's no real mail delivery here. Everything is done by a courier. And your shipping is just too prohibitive, even if there was no tariff. But they have something very special here in the Philippines called balikbayan boxes. And I don't know how to spell it, but I'll put it there because I'll look it up. And all over the world, especially in the United States, Canada, that kind of places, there are balikbayan services companies all over the place that ship to the Philippines. Now, these boxes are quite large. You can get them really big. You can put pretty much any weight you want in them as long as it fits in the box. Label what's on the outside of it. And you're allowed to ship it to, a Filipino or even foreigners that are here. Generally, I've never heard of anything not coming, put it that way. And it does take, though, 3 months. So you got to keep that in mind. It's going to go, when it has a bunch to go into a sea container, then it's going to go sit in a shipyard, then it's going to go on a ship, and it's going to make its way down here. And eventually you'll get a phone call saying, come and pick it up. So that's something that
many people use, especially if you're moving your whole life here. Well, you're not going to fit everything, like your mementos or little things, the trinkets, that kind of stuff that you don't want to give away or sell off. You put it all into these balikbayan box and have a friend of yours send it balikbayan after, when you have an address to give them. Now, the addresses here, although required, don't generally mean it's going to get there. What it is you have to put the Philippines phone number on the box, on the packaging, everywhere, because the courier company, when it gets to here, is going to not look at the address. They're just going to call the phone number. The address got it to the nearest port, the nearest service station, that kind of thing. From there, they got to go and call you and say, how do I find you? And then they'll come and bring it to you. So that's another question that I'm probably answering in the same one as this, is there post offices in the Philippines, that kind of thing. Technically there are. I have never been able to get anything out of them. It kind of just goes into this massive pile. I have visited one once because I was looking for a debit card that was sent back to me from my bank, and they said it was delivered, but they can't find it. They looked through. There was months of people's mail in there, piles. We went through everything and I couldn't find it. So I wouldn't recommend that, by the way. Just stick to, like if you use DHL, they partner with LBC here in the Philippines, which is one of the biggest shipping companies in the Philippines. So that, or you can still use FedEx and those kind of companies, but they may not be as quick. I found DHL to LBC seems to be the best and quickest. If you're an American, everything may change and this may not apply. Soon you might be able to send everything here duty-free to yourself. I don't know, we'll see. Now, if you're coming here on an SRRV visa, then you have $15,000 of personal goods that you're allowed to ship to the Philippines, and then you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, but $15,000 isn't a lot of money, obviously. Another thing you're going to really want, you're going to want to have a mailing address in your home country. It's very important. There's going to be things eventually that you're going to be like, oh yeah, I only have an address in the Philippines. And they will be like, you have to have a home address. We need an address in that home country. And it will happen. So talk to family, friends, and get one of those if you're not going to have an address anymore. P.O. boxes sometimes are trouble, just so you know. There'll be different agencies or governments that'll be like, no, I need something that's not a P.O. box. So try your best to get a good physical address with somebody there that will be able to receive and maybe forward it on if you need to. And one more thing that I wish I had done even more than I actually did, and that is go and renew all of your identifications to the maximum expiry date. Then you don't have to worry about it. So your driver's license, your passports, everything you have, your debit card, maybe it expires in a year from now or something like that. Go to the branch and say, I'd like to get a new one that will have like a 5-year expiration date to make your life a lot simpler. Think of all the different agencies and go and do it. If you're coming to the Philippines, you got to get used to Facebook. I'm sorry. I know how many people absolutely hate it. They're like, oh, they take all of my data, my privacy, everything. I know. I never had Facebook before I came, well, before I left the country, because I needed it in other countries as well. But here in this country, it is ingrained. People, companies, restaurants, everything do not have websites typically. What they'll have is a Facebook page. If you need to get a hold of somebody to book a reservation or whatever, they will give you a Facebook to go to. They don't use websites that often here, and I don't know if it's because, very likely, that Facebook used to give free data as long as it's Facebook. So if you've got a cell phone plan and you paid like 99 pesos, they'd give you no data to go on the internet, but they would allow you to have Facebook, and therefore they really took over this whole country, really. And so you're going to find that almost everybody is going to have a Facebook account, and every business is going to use Facebook, so you're going to have to get used to that. Now, when you're looking for rentals, if you're looking for condos, if you're looking for anything, you're going to find them all listed on Facebook. If they're going to be listed anywhere, they're going to be listed on Facebook. And not just in one place. How convenient would that be? No. You're going to have Facebook groups. So, for example, Rojas City. There'll be a Rojas City buy and sell group. There'll be another one called Rojas City rental group. Another one that's called apartments and condos. It'd be stuff like that. You'll have to join them all in order to find all of the information. Again, I know it should be a lot easier than that, but it's not. In addition to that, people post just regularly posting, and they also post on what's called Facebook Marketplace, which is so many places to look on a single app, but that's what you gotta do. And then of course, I've already discovered this and I keep showing it on my channel, the absolute best way to find the best deals and the best locations is to wander around. Go down the street, pick a neighborhood that you like, and then go down that street and talk to the saris, talk to the trike drivers, the security guards, everybody you can find, and ask them if they know of any place for rent. Now there'll be people, of course, trying to take advantage, and you will get some people that will be like, cha-ching, they see you, and they're like, oh, I know a place, and the price will be outrageous. But I think if you watch most of these videos, you get an idea of what the value of apartments and rental houses in that market is, so that you don't fall prey to those kind of things. Because it's gonna happen, it is gonna happen. You know, we used to say it was a white price, but I've learned my lesson now because I've met too many OFWs that have come back and have had the exact same thing happen to them. So it's not a white price, it's a perceived income level price. And that's why when you do look on Facebook and places like that, often people don't put the price. They want to go through your Facebook, look through it, all of it, before replying to you to tell you how much they're going to charge you for it. It's very frustrating, I get it, but it's a way of life here in the Philippines, and just bitching about it's not going to change anything. I can tell you for a fact, because I know a lot of people that bitch about it, and I get it. A lot of stores I will not shop in if the prices aren't listed, because the prices are, well, let me look at you first and determine what the price is going to be. I won't support businesses like that, but when it comes to rentals and stuff like that, you're just not going to be able to find enough that lists the price. They're going to have to go in and just start going at it, like negotiate hard and be willing to walk away. Now, here in this country, saving face is very, very, very important. And so I've had examples where a trike driver, for example, on Boracay, he wanted 400 pesos to take me like 2 kilometers away. I knew the normal price was 150, and I'm trying to tell him, no, 150, 150. He would rather drive away empty than come down to even 200, because he wants to save face, because he already told me 400. And so there will be those situations there, and you know, the best thing you could do is just try to save them face in some way. Just say, no, I think you're mistaken. We were just in one yesterday, and it's 150. It's 150, and maybe you'll give them the opportunity to save face. But it's a very important thing in this culture. So, yeah, you're going to run into it. It's part of life. Stay calm. Stay patient. You're retired now. Now there's no reason to stress about everything. You'll see, life will get a lot easier when you're living in the Philippines. When you're looking for a short-term place to stay, Airbnb is great. A little bit more on the expensive side compared to others. But they have another app called Agoda, A-G-O-D-A. And it's like hotels.com, that kind of thing. And you can get usually the cheapest price out of all the apps for hotels. But if you're looking for a very specific hotel, a lot of times those hotels will only have maybe 4 to 5 rooms blocked out for those apps. And then after that, they'll say they're sold out, but they may not be sold out. The hotel itself, you'll need to contact them. You'll find that the price is going to be identical. They don't actually even give discounts. If you're like, listen, I saw you have a hotel room on Agoda. This is the price. Will you give it to me for the same or less? And they'll be like, no. They really do protect their price on it, and they actually want to use Agoda because, like I said before, a lot of people don't use online. They don't have websites, their own booking sites, that kind of thing. They generally just trust these type of apps to do all their bookings for them. But anyway, I know San Antonio across the street, they often have rooms, but everything online says they do not. Contact them directly, and you'll probably pay around the same price anyway. Okay, so, as you know, I have a bike here. Yes, you can own vehicles. You can put them in your own name. You don't need any of these special. You don't need a relationship with a girl or anything like that to put it in their name. You can have vehicles in your name, cars, bikes, whatever. And you also can use your own driver's license from your home country here for 90 days. After that, you have to bring your driver's license and go to the LTO, which is their licensing office here, and they will exchange your existing driver's license from your home country into a Philippines driver's license. The whole process is really easy, but you need to have your ACR card first, which is issued on your 3-month renewal here in the Philippines when you're getting your tourist visa renewed. Or
when you're getting an SRV, those kind of things, you will be issued an ACR card. Once you have that, you must get a Philippines driver's license. You can only drive for 3 months, 90 days each day. Now, keep in mind, your international driver's license stuff, that's not needed in this country. Nobody uses it. They want your photo driver's license only from your home country. So I gave you all kinds of information there, but let's be honest, Philippines is actually easily adaptable to Western cultures. Very easily you can assimilate into this culture. You're not going to have any difficulty at all. Yeah, these are very important points and everything, but you'll figure it out. That's the great thing about it. Like, driving here is actually quite safe. You'll be quite shocked by it. I saw a lot more car accidents in my daily life in Canada than I do here. It's like organized chaos, but it's like nothing like Vietnam or Cambodia. Oh my God, Cambodia. 40 motorcycles wide, everybody just rushes out together, and it's a free-for-all. And in my first month, I had 2 hit-and-run accidents where they hit me and ran. So, yeah, the Philippines, really safe, really great place. It's actually pretty decent. You'll be able to handle it very, very well. And I think a lot of worries you might have, you'll find that they were maybe not unfounded, but not as bad as you think they are. Obviously do like a lot of those things that you need to do with your banks and stuff like that, but you're gonna find that this is a great country for you. So anyway, I hope I see you guys here in the Philippines. There's so many beautiful places here in the Philippines, all from the north all the way down to the south. So many cool places. You'll be traveling all over the place and having many, many great adventures, and it literally will feel like you're living an entirely new life. You know, like a restarted life. And you'll see the true meaning of life, I think, once you get here. You know, the value of everything. And it's not just stuff and junk and material stuff, you know? Experiences. Life is about having experiences, and you can have so many great ones here in the Philippines. So anyway, I hope I see you down here in Rojas City at the Canadian Beaver sometime. Come, let's have a little bit of a chat and get to know each other. All right, so thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
At 29 and I find myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again.